Hey guys, it's Jenna. Welcome back to my channel today. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the new Charlotte Tilbury Super Nudes collection. I was really excited to get this super fast in the mail. This is a collection I have purchased myself. It does include some really beautiful items. We actually have 4 new lipsticks, and there's actually a 5th lipstick which was not included in the website preview for this collection, but there is one now in the kissing formula, so I'm going to have to order that one right away. There's also the re-release of the Super Nudes palette. This came out last holiday as well, so if you did have it from the previous holiday, it is the exact same palette, basically everyday friendly colors. Then we also have probably the highly anticipated release of this collection, the new Nudegasm face palette. So I'm actually going to be demoing all of these products for you, showing you all how the lipsticks look on me. Also, my thoughts on the eye palette. I did do a review on this prior, but I revisit that palette today and share with you guys my thoughts and whether or not my opinion is still the same on this Super Nudes palette. So let's get right on into it. Let's talk about the palette first. This is the Super Nudes palette from Charlotte Tilbury. Like I said, this is a re-release from last holiday. Now, this palette size is the same as Charlotte Darling, that Darling palette that is a bestseller on Sephora and Nordstrom. It's basically an all matte palette, and it's an interesting modern matte. That's basically what she calls it. It's kind of like a creamy matte, still has a matte finish on the eye, but it's very creamy when you actually apply them. Now, this is a palette that overall I actually didn't like when I first got it, because not only is an all over matte palette just not my favorite thing, I do like to include shimmers in my eye looks, but I also found this one to be one that was very light, and you do have to build up those pigments on the eye. Multiple layers, at least for me, to feel like the pigment was actually on my eye. So it is quite a light opacity pigmentation with all of these shades. I do like the fact that the black is very nice and light, because a black matte can be a little bit nerve-wracking to play with, especially if you're a beginner. You just get black all over your eye. It could look quite stark if you're not careful. So I do like the fact that it's soft for that purpose, but I felt like even just doing my look today, I went all over the lid with the basically like whitey beige color. It's the lightest shade in this palette, and it took about 3 layers for sure for me to feel like, okay, it's fully coated my lid. It looks like it's gonna have the most pigment that it will ever produce for me. And then I went on to the next shade. The next shade I picked up is actually this really beautiful light brown, way over on the left side of this palette. And this is also one, same thing. It just seemed to need about 3 layers once again, and it really does end up kind of capping out at about a medium opacity. So we are expecting a softer look overall. If you're expecting like this crazy pigmented situation, it just really isn't it. It's more on like the softer side, like light wash, so to speak. So if that's really your cup of tea, you're going to love this palette. But if you are wanting more of that pigment to show up, then expect to build them. I think when I use this palette and I feel like I have to go layer by layer, it just takes more time. So that's why I thought, compared to some other palettes she's done, this one isn't my favorite. Not to say that it's a dud per se, but I do feel like when it comes to these, they're just very soft. And because it is all matte as well, I just feel like it's missing a little something, but that's just a personal preference situation. To finish up the look today, I just added this kind of purpley brown color right here in the outermost corner of the eye. And once again, when I had to build, no fallout though, which is really nice, but I did have to build this one just like the other mattes. So I do feel like the consistency across this palette is the same, which is great, but keyword here is build if you want to have a little bit more pigment presence. For this Super Nudes Easy Eye palette, she does have a day eye and a night eye kind of in the legend there for you. So she has the first group of 3 right here for the day eye, and then this one for the night eye. And she does this very much in a lot of her other palettes. She'll just do groups of 3 to kind of give you a very easy visualization of how to put a look together. She'll do prime, which is all over the lid, enhance, which is the color you can put over top, and then smoke, which is on the outer corner there, to just build a look really easily if you're having trouble with which shades would go well together. Next, let's talk about the new lipsticks. There actually are 5 total, but like I said in the intro of this video, I was only able to pick up 4 because at the time, I ordered through her sneak peek of this Super Nudes collection on her website, and at the time, all they had were the 4 Matte Revolution lipsticks. So there is one now in the Kissing formula. If you are unfamiliar, the Kissing formula is a very creamy consistency and sort of has more of a shine when you actually wear it, versus the Matte Revolution is a matte finish, but does still have a creaminess that makes it one of the best wearing mattes that I possibly have in my collection. The first shade that I tried on for you guys is the shade I'm wearing currently. This is Cover Star. According to Charlotte Tilbury, Cover Star is described as an apricot lipstick, and I would say that that is true. It does have a slight apricotness. It's a very everyday nude friendly color, but it absolutely does have that little apricot-esque to it. So I certainly don't have any other lipsticks from her like this. This is a really wearable, really beautiful light nude lipstick. The next shade that I tried on for you guys today is Catwalking. Catwalking is also a Matte Revolution formula, and this one is described by Charlotte as a neutral nude peach lipstick with a modern matte finish. I do agree with that description for sure. This is a lipstick that I would probably wear on a more regular basis. So Cover Star is one of my favorites because it's one that I'm wearing right now. Catwalking is a close second. So those two I think are my most favorite out of this new collection so far. The next shade that I tried on is Supermodel. Supermodel is a super beautiful Matte Revolution as well. According to Charlotte, it's described as a mid-toned, muted nude rose, which is absolutely true. It does have a little bit of that brown aspect to it, so I think that's probably what she means by nude, is it does have more of that brown undertone to all of these lipsticks compared to some other Charlotte lipsticks I have, which are actually more pink or more peach in that way. The last and deepest lipstick I have in the Super Nudes collection so far is Super Fabulous. Super Fabulous is described as a deep rosewood brown nude. This is super pretty as well. It is the deepest one for sure, so I would personally wear this also on a night out or something like that. It's going to look fabulous as well on many skin tones too. I think the versatility of her lipsticks is great. I did forget to mention that Supermodel was actually a re-release as well. She did have it once upon a time in her collection as well. So you could also have Supermodel in your collection already, especially if you are an avid lipstick collector of Charlotte. Just make sure that you are double checking that before you order, but the other 3 are new shades. Now the one I'm missing here is the Super Nudes Kissing formula. This is called Runway Royalty. According to Charlotte, it is a nude soft rosy peach lipstick with a fresh dewy satin finish. Very excited to order this. I actually did order this already. It is coming to me, so I will update the swatches for you. I'll probably just post it in my YouTube community tab when I get this lipstick so you can see how it compares to the other 4. Now let's talk about the last release in the Super Nudes collection, the most anticipated one that I purchased. This is the Nudegasm palette, and I know a lot of you guys are probably the most pumped about this one. This is the Stunning Face palette. It does include a highlight, a blush highlight, kind of like a multi-purpose shade as well, and then 2 sculpt shades according to Charlotte Tilbury. So we have a Super Glow, which is the highlight. She calls it a multi-glow, that one on this side here of the palette. So I call it a blush slash highlight depending on how you want to use it, but it's considered a multi-glow to Charlotte. You can probably layer it on top of the nude one if you would like. Now you guys can tell that I have some heavy bronzer today, a little heavier than I would typically wear because I tested out both shades so you could actually see them. So just so you guys know, that's the reason. But this is a really, really beautiful palette. It actually leans more cool toned than the other ones that she's released. So the other ones that I'm referring to are the Glowgasm palettes. Super, super gorgeous. The Lightgasm one is the one that I really love. You can see this palette is super well loved. I've even dented quite a few of those pans. Not quite hit pan yet, but definitely had made a dent. So this is Lightgasm. This is my absolute favorite one. You do have to build up that bronzer a little bit, but it's so, so pretty on the skin. I wore this constantly. Now, the other one, I can't even hold it for you vertically, unfortunately, but I picked it up. This is the most I can hold. I'm so sorry, because this shade right here is broken, the top right. I picked this up when she did like a really fast restock of these, like not that long ago. This one, when I showed you guys in a haul, I literally lifted it vertical and it just fell out, like one big shot. So I already talked to Charlotte Tilbury's team. I did get a refund for this. Customer service just told me to keep it, but I did get fully refunded because it is broken. So they did make it right. 2 highlights in here, 1 blush, and then the bronze as well. Comparatively to these two, the Nudegasm is actually more cool toned, like I said. And it sounds like she's got that whole apricot theme pretty consistent, right? Because we have apricot in some of the undertones of the lipsticks. We also have apricot in one of the highlights slash blush slash multi-glow. I actually applied on the one side the lighter sculpt shade. You can see on my skin tone that it does show up. So this is the lighter one of the two, and this is probably what I would use more so on a regular basis. The other one is quite deep, and I think I put a little bit too much pigment on my brush, but you can see I can pull it off still. I just have to be a little bit light-handed with it. So if you are my skin tone, you can kind of tell both of those shades do a good job of sculpting. It just depends on kind of what you're after, if you want more of a lighter, more like slightly gray undertone, or if you want this one here, which is more of that richer brown. So it just depends on your preferences. The highlight is super pretty. It is very, very glowy, just so you guys know. I felt like it didn't quite emphasize my texture a ton. But looking at the mirror, it emphasized it a little bit. So just so you guys know, it's one of those kind of highlights where it will emphasize a little bit if you happen to have some congestion on the skin or something like that, but nothing crazy. The last shade in here is this guy, and I used it as a blush today, which I think really does a good job of being very cohesive on the face. I do think this is one that picks up a ton of pigment on a denser brush, so just be careful, but it's a lovely palette, I will say. I do think it's going to be more those effortless, everyday kind of looks. It's certainly not major glam. It's just, you know, nice, like your skin amplified a little bit. It's definitely more of that nude, everyday friendly kind of vibe. I definitely do like it, but I will say, upon first impression, I think I was absolutely blown away by Lightgasm just because of the colors in it. Perhaps because I'm not really a contour slash sculpt kind of style. I'm more so a bronze. It is still really pretty though. It's definitely just more of that effortless look, and it really does scream like 90s vibes, I'll be totally honest. What do you guys think of all of the products so far in the Super Nudes collection? Do let me know down below, and until my next one, guys, take care and stay safe. Bye, guys.